Good morning, everyone. If you're listening in the morning, maybe it's the afternoon. Welcome to Death, Taxes and This Podcast, episode 9, I believe.
Correct.
Jeez, we're almost at 100.
Round up, mate. Round up, yeah.
Today we're talking about small business processes. It's a thrilling topic for me, but most people find it extremely boring. But it's very important.
I don't think so, man. I think this is like bread and butter. This is what, when we sit in a meeting and we've got small businesses coming and talking to us, this is what people want to know the most of. And to be honest, this is where like your normal tax accountant doesn't even know this stuff. This is gold, mate. This is actually probably the most exciting episode we're going to do. So listen closely, everyone. Listen closely.
I mean it is. But I wanted to mention, I was going to call you Mr. 3 meters.
Why?
Do you want to tell a story? He's not 3 meters tall. If you're not watching, you won't know what the hell's going on. But
so like we went to Philippines to see some of our staff recently, and like we went out on a boat, and they drop you off at like this island that's got like all these like diving boards,
cliff jumping,
different size cliffs basically. And I went up to like the 7 meter one, and I wanted to do it. Like I really wanted to do it, but then like I went to just walk off and not even look down, and then like someone stopped, and then I looked down, and it was all over. So then I just like went down to the 3 meter one, which was still pretty tall for me, man.
You did
I was
one.
too worried, but yeah. And then how high did you go, mate?
I did the 11.
The 11. That looks stupid because like from the 3 meter one to the 7, like it looks so much taller, right? And then like the 7 to the 11's the same again. So yeah, it looks stupid, man. Like,
but well done to Jarek. He did well at the 11.
Yeah.
Down to 9, but no, that was a good fun.
Oh man,
I look forward
great
to going
time
back
with the team.
hopefully next year.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get into it. So as I was saying, this is the most exciting topic for small business owners because Joe and I both worked in big corporate jobs. This is the sort of stuff that the big corporates put in place. So they got like some fancy person who gets paid too much that tells everyone to do and puts in processes and stuff. Like we've got the best robust stuff like that we've pulled out from big corporates. So your listed companies that are going through crazy audits and stuff. We've put that into a condensed version for small businesses, and I bet everyone that's listening, like honestly, like everyone that we sit down with meeting to meeting, this is the stuff they want to know. You know what I mean? So we're going to go through the accounting process and how it all works on our end. All right, so like let's get into accounting ledgers for small business. Like what are your options, and what realistically, like there's probably only 3 that you'd want to use, right?
Yeah, there's a few starting to pop up now that I've seen other people using, but I think the main one that people use is Xero. I mean, it is very user friendly.
They're criminals, mate.
And they do increase their prices every now and then.
Mate, it's gone from like $25 to $100 in like 4 years or something.
But if you look at other subscriptions that you pay in your business, it's still reasonably priced.
Yeah. That's right.
It is annoying. I hate it.
No, I just hate how much they're like raising it. You know what I mean? Like, but like to be honest, they are the best software, so it's fair enough.
So there's that. There's MYOB. It's still hanging around. Less people using it, but it's not bad.
So everyone went from MYOB over onto Xero, like and they're like for good reason. Like it was a DOS type.
It was clunky, yeah.
Oh mate, it wasn't online. It wasn't on the cloud. They had no bank feeds, which we'll get into in a sec. But like, it was crap. Like, but then I used it again. I've got one client on it, and man, I gotta be honest, they got an online version. The reporting's like as good as Xero. You can go back, like it's not too bad anymore. Like they've actually done some stuff to upgrade it.
I think when you get to a sort of like a bigger level, like the MYOB larger business software is better than, like there's nothing in Xero for that.
Yeah. Oh, like So you're talking about mid-size.
Yeah, mid-size, like MYOB Enterprise or whatever it's called now. What's it called?
Advanced. It used to be MYOB Advanced, but it's like Acumenica or something.
Yeah. That's all right, but most people can use Xero. Some people are starting to use Odoo.
What's that?
Yeah, like we've only got a few on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just another ledger.
What about QuickBooks?
QuickBooks, yeah, but it's crap.
Yeah.
Like, no offense, QuickBooks.
No, it's fair enough.
QuickBooks is massive in the States.
Yeah.
Here's really a secondary market.
Yeah.
And they don't really put much time into it.
Yeah.
I think your main one's going to be Xero. I think like if you don't know anything about it, like Xero is the way to go.
Yeah. So Xero MYOB, they're the most popular for good reason. All right, so you start your business, you're running, like whatever your revenue is and stuff, and your zero ledger's there, like what do you need to do to your zero ledger to make sure that it's running like a big business? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the first one is we want to get bank feeds set up so we don't have to manually import the transactions all the time, and there's a current picture of your performance. Like we can reconcile transactions daily.
Okay. So what are bank feeds? Like the transactions are coming through.
Yeah. So you literally link it with your bank.
Yep.
And the transaction will show up in Xero as an unreconciled transaction.
Yep.
So that can then be reconciled against either an invoice or a receipt of a sales invoice, or cash coded to the P&L or balance sheet, depending on what it is.
Yeah, okay. So just for anyone that's like used Xero and set up bank feeds already, like back when me and Joe trained, like you used to have to go and get the bank statement, like a PDF version, and then you would have to type in the transaction, and then that's how you would flow everything through. There was
no bank feeds when we were training.
No,
No.
it was a disaster.
Oh, it's probably good for training, but
No, it's not good for training. No, but fair enough. All right, so you got your bank feeds going through, and then bank reconciliations. Like, how often are you doing those?
Oh, look,
Who's doing them? Yeah,
I think your accountant should do it, ideally, or your bookkeeper.
Yeah.
If you're a specialist in marketing and you know nothing about accounting, like it's not worth it to do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like I know people, if they're starting a business, they're trying to save every penny, but it's just not one area you really want to get a mess at the start.
Yeah.
You're going to pay someone more to clean it up. Like.
So yeah. Do you remember when we took on? I'm not going to say the name, but the building company.
Mm.
Do you remember when we walked into that one? So there was this building company that we walked into, and they'd had like, I don't know what the hell was going on, but there was like a bookkeeper. This is actually the funniest thing ever, and like they had like bank feeds, and you might know, what I'm talking about, yeah, yeah. Do you want to give like a rundown on that? Like they had like the credit card feeds, and then they had the bank feeds. Anyways, it was like
it was a standard mess, I think.
No, this was the biggest one we've ever seen, which is like hilarious. Like sometimes we go in and talk to people about their books, right? And we get up to this point and they're like, "Oh, it's a mess." I'm like, "Oh, like you've coded 3 transactions the wrong way. Like it's easy to fix. Like you haven't seen this mess." So anyways, like we walk into this builder and like they've got their bank feed. Like so they tried doing it themselves. Obviously, they're trying to save money. They've got their bank feeds set up, but then they've done it. I've never seen this before. Like they've done it twice somehow. So like it's like they've got like double the transactions coming through.
What happens is like sometimes you have credit cards, but you have 2 credit cards under one account. And so they've set up each individual credit card, and then they've set up the account feed as well. So it means like you're getting 2 times everything.
It was a disaster.
Then like all your invoices aren't reconciled. Like it still shows it's outstanding, but it was paid. All this kind of it's massive.
It was a disaster. That was the biggest cleanup job we've ever done. Man, it was satisfying when it was done. But like it was also the funniest thing I've ever seen, because like how do you even do that? But yeah, so okay, so you get in, you get your bank feeds going properly, not with 4 times the amount of transactions, and then you get your reconciliation going. All right, so you're doing your recs like bookkeeper, the accountant's doing them daily, weekly, and then like what about payroll? So like go through have you seen?
Well, I might do payroll last.
Yeah. Okay.
But like if you look at your process from start to finish, you're going to have an invoice, a purchase invoice, for example. What do you do with that? Like you get emailed an invoice, or you get sent one like bit of paper.
Yeah.
So what you do is you set up a system to be able to read it easily. Like with Xero, they use HubDoc.
Yep.
With MYOB, they use what's it called?
Expensify?
Nah, it's a different one. Anyway.
Yeah.
They have a different one. So you might take a photo of the invoice if it's set up well, and then it comes into Xero, or you can email it to an email address and it comes into Xero that way. So you want to make getting the information into Xero as easy as possible.
Yeah.
And I think that's what like a lot of the time people just don't have time to do that as a business owner. Like for example, like they're a butcher, like when we met Artie.
Yeah.
He had bags of invoices.
Yeah.
Because he just didn't have a way of getting it into the system easily. And like it was just too much. So he just gave us the bags and we sorted it out.
Yeah.
And then we set him up in the system. But you want to make that part as easy as possible. And then the other thing is like once the invoice is in Xero, like you have to match the actual payment against it properly. Because what we see often is like they'll mark the invoice as paid and then they'll cash code the transaction to the P&L, and there's 2, then it doubles up the expenses essentially.
Yeah.
Your bank recs out.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, so that's probably the most common mistake we see. So like if you load an invoice into Xero, Basically, it's going debit expense and then credit balance sheet. So you got a liability to pay.
Yeah.
And then if you go and pay the invoice out of your like bank, right? And then if you match it against the invoice, the debits and credits all tie up, like, you know what I mean? But then if you go and just cash code that, so
The
you
payment,
you put the payment against the P&L, then you've got
2 expenses.
correct. So you got the debit of the like invoice, which will still show as a liability, and then you got the cash one, which will still show as a payment, right? So you got the double up. That's the most common one we see, which is like a bit of a disaster. Yeah. So that's why it's important to get that stuff right.
And then like, so once you're doing that right, like revenue invoicing, like you're going to do it through, you can set up through Xero as well.
Yeah.
It depends on what business you've got. Like there are things that you would link in, potentially systems that integrate with Xero or whatever, or MYOB.
Yeah.
To track invoicing or.
So a lot of the teams we work with, the sales teams will do the invoicing because like they're the people that know who to invoice, right? Even for us, like the partners are the people that are quoting the jobs and like invoicing the jobs for us. Lawyers will probably be very similar, like all the other sort of places as well.
Yeah, I think like there can be processes set up where the information's saved and then we take up the invoice based on that information. Which happens quite often, but generally we're not going to just be like that. We have to be provided with the information. Often that is enough time for the person to just do it.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So like if you've got a sales team, like they're either providing the information to their accountant to do the invoicing, or they can just do the invoicing depending on, you know, how good they are at using Xero, I guess.
Yeah. I think it depends on your industry, like whether you'd have an app or another software that integrates with Xero for that. But it is something to look at because like you could send more like easily, like Xero does send automatic reminders, for example, but then at a certain point, like that's all it's going to do.
Yeah.
There's no way to then send that to a debt collector or unless you like you have an external thing. But if you can have this all in one place, it makes things easier depending on the industry.
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously restaurants, they don't need it.
Oh, of course. They've got like their POS.
They've got their, so if your POS, your point of sale and your CRM and all that has this function, sometimes it's done in there and then it comes into Xero.
Yeah.
But it depends on the business. Yeah. But we can help with that as well.
Yeah.
What that looks like.
The only thing I say on the CRM stuff is like, no matter what business you are, there's going to be someone that's already done a CRM.
Don't build your own CRM.
Yeah. Like don't try and be fancy and stuff. You're going to spend, $1 million on like doing something that isn't going to work when there's already probably a provider that spent $1 billion trying to sell it to you, which is perfect. So
if you're going to spend $1 million, just go get Salesforce.
Yeah. And spend it on
an equivalent.
Yeah. Doing that. Yeah. Totally agree. So don't waste that. And all industries, like I don't care what industry it is, they all have their own little software setup. So you can use it. Or there's like ones that are similar enough that you can use that anyways.
Correct. Yeah. Especially at the start.
Yeah.
The other, so we could touch on payroll now. Like, depends on your industry. I think for like a services business like ours, you're just going to do payroll through Xero.
Yep.
But if you're, for example, a restaurant and there's more casuals and there's time you touching in and out, like timesheets and stuff like that, you might use something like
shift work.
Yeah, shift work.
Even hospitals, right?
Yeah, anything that where you got to clock in, clock off. Even medical places.
Yeah.
You could use the software.
Big W when I was like, 14.
And you had to put your code in.
Yeah. I had to clock in, clock out. Yeah. So even them.
Yeah. So there's small ones for like small business have ones like Tanda, for example.
Yeah.
Time and attendance, that kind of thing. There are a few floating around. So I would suggest when you have those kind of staff to get that set up, you'd have the tablet at the restaurant or the place of work and the staff would just tap in, like clock in, clock off.
Yeah, okay.
Obviously your permanent staff, you can still make them do that, but sometimes they don't.
So if you've got like a really simple wage-based salary type thing, you can just do the payroll in Xero.
Yeah.
Whereas if you've got like a more complex hour-based methodology, lots of employees, like you might go and get external software that like, does that link to Xero?
It does. And like the other thing to consider is like, is there an award that you need to keep up with?
Yeah.
That's all going to be kept up to date in these other softwares like Tanda or Employment Hero or that kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen in Xero.
You got to keep an eye on it yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is probably easy if you're like, professional services or something where you're always above the award. But like, yeah, if you're
If you're paying based on the award,
like Big W.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
just
you
use it
want
as
to make
example.
sure you've got
Yeah, yeah.
something in place for that.
Yep.
That will then the timesheets will then feed into Xero, and then the payroll's still done in Xero generally.
Yep.
But you want to have that in place. It'll make your life a lot easier.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I mean, go and speak to your advisor if you need a hand with that, like depending on how complex your payroll is, but that makes sense. And then how often would people be doing it? Weekly?
Depends on the industry.
Yeah.
Like professional services, like accountants don't like doing things more than once if we don't have to. So we generally get paid monthly, right? Lawyers are similar often, or fortnightly max. But then like the services, like restaurant services, that kind of industry, they're getting paid weekly generally.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to talk about batching and like, because like the other common mistake I see with small business versus big business is like when you've got to pay like 10, 15, 20 invoices at once, like a lot of small businesses will just save the banks in the bank. Like they'll save the bank accounts in the bank. They'll pull the invoice up and they'll write, Obsidian Advisory, and they'll pay it that way. And they'll pay like 20 different invoices. Obviously it might take them like 20 minutes or something. But like, do you want to go into how batching works and how much time you can save doing that?
Yeah, for sure. So we're like, for example, when we do accounts payable for people, we'll load the bank details for the supplier into Xero. And then when we take up the invoice, we can then select which invoices we're going to pay, export an ABA file, and then load that one file into the bank for the client to approve. So we would never approve it ourselves.
So it's got like, so the ABA file's got what, like 20 invoices?
As many, I mean, it could have 50, 100, whatever.
Yeah.
You're doing it all in one payment rather than having to go into the bank and paying 100 times.
Yeah, wow. So you just literally, like, and the invoices are already in there from the hub doc that you were talking about before?
Yeah, correct. So you start in, for example, hub doc, you then put into, so if we're doing the back office for someone, all they're going to do is take the photo or send it to hub doc, the invoice, or to an email address that we set up for them. And then we get the invoices into Xero. Then we will run a batch file. We will load the payment into the bank, and then you literally and we'll send you the batch of what we're actually paying, and then they just literally go in and pay. Like click one button to approve the payment.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is take a photo of the invoice and approve the bank payment. That's it.
Yeah. So you got like 2 seconds worth of jobs.
Yeah. Well, taking a photo a little bit, but often you can get the staff to take photos of them if there's invoices coming in every day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And it just makes life a lot easier for like the ones that are doing things weekly, like weekly accounts payable, weekly payroll, all these kind of things. Like these systems are going to make you sane.
Yeah.
Like without them,
efficient.
like your life's a lot harder. Yeah. So then, and then that's paid. That's it.
Yeah. So it's very, very efficient. And that's how the big businesses get through, hundreds of thousands of invoices and one person here. Like it's not more people, it's just more robust systems and processes and batch files and stuff.
Yeah, you could own 5 restaurants, you still only need one accountant.
Yeah, if you're doing it the right way. Yeah, great.
Yeah. And then the other thing with payroll that we probably should touch on is super. So paying super.
Yep.
Xero and the other systems have something like automatic super, where you select the super payments you're going to pay and just hit OK, put in a code, and then it takes it out of your bank and pays it to the super funds. And so that could be like a 5-minute process, if that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, whereas people who have previously done it through a clearinghouse or the ATO small business clearinghouse, they're literally going in and filling in the numbers for each one every time and then making a manual payment to that clearinghouse.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas, like, why would you do that?
Yeah, especially if the system's going to do it for you. So that saves you a lot of time.
Yeah.
Which is why they price the software the way that they do.
Yeah, so like it makes sense. Like it is worth it.
Bastards.
Jeez, you're not getting any Christmas present from Xero this year?
Mate, yeah.
No invite to XeroCon?
Mate, I hope they're listening. Okay. So is there anything else before we go into like a month-end process? No, that's it. All right. So take us through like a robust month-end process, and then we'll get into the reporting after the month-end's done.
Yeah, perfect. So a lot of businesses that we see, like they don't actually, and I think we've touched on this before, but they don't really look at their balance sheet.
No, that's bookkeepers.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. When you so like the difference between a bookkeeper and an accountant or a bookkeeper and a chartered accountant, like is like a bookkeeper thinks like it's like Just the P&L.
No, just the bank. Yeah.
Yeah, just the bank and just the P. Oh, yeah, true. Just the bank's probably better.
Yeah.
But like, no, all they think about it's like, what do they call it? So there's like 1 entry accounting and 2 entry accounting, and there's even like going to be 3 entry accounting one day, but that's for another podcast probably. But yeah, basically a bookkeeper will talk about just 1 entry. So as soon as it hits the bank, they put it as an expense or revenue, and they don't even know what a balance sheet is, and then that's where they get all their issues and troubles from, right?
Yeah.
So how do you get around that?
Yeah, so generally you should, well, maybe not when you're very, very new, but when you start to grow, you really should reconcile your balance sheet every month.
Yeah.
And that means going through checking your bank lines up with your bank statement. Even if you have bank feeds like that, there are errors with bank feeds.
Yeah.
The prime one is what's the credit card? Amex. Oh my god.
Yeah.
They are a disaster with bank feeds.
Yeah.
So you do have to actually check it, because there are things that are missed.
So at the end of each month, you do a reconciliation pack, and what you're reconciling is that the balance on the balance sheet. So like accounting is very, very logical, and basically like there's a debit and credit for each side, right? So if all your balances on your balance sheet total, then all your P&L balances have to total, just because like 1 + 1 has to equal 2. So what you're saying is like at the end of the month, when you go through reconciliation pack, you are then reconciling it to a balance that's external from the accounting system.
Correct.
To make sure, and you use bank as an example. What's another one? Say fixed assets.
Well, like I'll give you an actual example of where like this didn't happen and what the issue was.
Yeah, go.
So the credit card was feeding through bank feed. But the problem is like there was an account for the credit card as well that had further transactions that weren't coming through on the bank feed. So whenever there was a transaction that couldn't be reconciled, even though we asked for the credit card statements, like it was getting treated as like a director loan, even though it was a repayment of the credit card, because those transactions weren't coming on the bank feed. Even like interest and admin fees of the card, they were external to the bank feed.
What was the credit card balance then? It just looked like it was huge.
Yeah. 70,000.
And then there's direct loan balances.
Yeah, there was both like 90,000, right?
Yeah.
And the problem is like then you look like you owe money to the company of 90,000
when you've really been paying.
And you have a credit card liability.
Yeah.
So like both are incorrect. They should be 0.
Yeah, they should be netted out. Yeah,
and you're not going to know that without looking at the statement. Yeah.
Nah, and like another common one, obviously like that's the Amex problem, but then like another common
that wasn't
one.
Amex.
Oh, wasn't it? Really?
That was NAB.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, interesting. And then like the most common one I see is like when you do payroll in Xero, right? So like it'll post debit expense, so like it goes to wages, right? And then it credits the payroll owing. Wages payable. But then when the wages payable transaction comes through the bank feed, they put it to wages expense again. Yeah. So you like instead of having 100 grand worth of wages, you got 200, and then instead of owing 0 on the balance sheet, you owe 200. So like it sort of doubles it up.
Yeah, 100.
100. Sorry, yeah, which is like and then that's because obviously, as I was saying, 1 entry accounting versus 2 entry accounting.
Yeah, and then they go, oh, this I don't know, it doesn't make sense. Like, what
we're
I'm making money.
Yeah.
Because the people doing the job don't know what they're doing. Like,
exactly.
Or you're doing it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not an expert in building construction. I'm not going to try and build my own house. Like,
God.
So like, thank God for my wife, my kids. They will survive.
No, agree. Yeah.
So why? Like, I get it. Like, you want to save a bit of dollars, but at the end of the day, you make the biggest mess. You're going to pay for it to clean it up. And you're not really helping your business.
Well, I think it's like...
Because you can't make decisions.
Yeah, so like as we go into like the reporting stuff, right? So like I think the biggest problem with like having the wrong numbers or not doing your balance sheet rec or not doing any of these processes properly is like when you go then to look at your profit, it's not right. And like, people like are making decisions based on profit, right? Like they need to figure out if they're making money or losing money. And if you think your wages are 200 grand, they're supposed to be 100 grand and you think that's right because you don't know what's going on, like what are you going to do? You might start firing people, but you don't even have to, right? So that's the main one. So like as all this stuff like flows into like as a month-end reporting pack, so the rec pack's the most important thing. It verifies all the balances are correct. And then you can get into your reporting, right? Because like then your numbers are right and then they're meaningful.
Correct.
Yeah. And then like so the reporting, like once the rec pack's done, like the reporting is just set up, and this would be similar in like a lot of business. I mean, it probably actually isn't similar. In our business, we use like a reporting tool and like we do like templates and stuff like that. But it makes it all very, very fast, right? So like as soon as we get the rec pack information from the client, we go like a day later, we get the rec pack done, and then we can just like spit out the report. depending on like formats. I mean, like if you go into the bigger business we used to work at, there's a lot of spreadsheets and a lot of massaging, but that's because they're all using like super old stuff.
Oh, look, it can come up, but it's probably the rarer situation where you add additional reports in to what's already built.
Yep.
Does happen.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, we look at the reporting and we look at like the reporting side is different for every business. We look at your profit, we look at your gross profit, we look at your revenue, we look at your like revenue per job in situations. For example, like there's one where they do what do they do? Landscape architecture.
Yeah.
And we look at per job profit and we track that as we go.
Yep.
So like for them, they can be like, you know, what did we like? How do we quote that job? What do we expect to make? What did we end up making?
No, I think that's smart because like we had a builder recently who like had no cash, and this has happened to like not just that person, but it's happened to like 4 or 5 others as well. And they keep doing more jobs because they think it's like going to be more cash, but like they don't realize that like they don't have any cash because they're literally got no profit, so they're not even.
Yeah, they're quoting the jobs too low.
Yeah,
just to win a job.
Yeah, and then like you know where you go after that, you get liquidated. Like
Yeah,
so,
or bankrupt.
Yeah. Well, liquidated if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Bankrupt if you're unlucky. Yeah. Okay. All right. So last bit, like so, IAS, BAS, tax and compliance. Like you mean, what are you using for that? And like what information they have to provide? How does the ledger all flow into that stuff?
Yeah. So like once your numbers are great, we pretty much export reports. We review like the transactions. For example, GST. We'll do a deep dive into each transaction, not click in each one, but we'll review each transaction to check whether there should be GST or not. Like a sense check, I guess.
Yep.
Even if we do the work, we still do that ourselves.
Of course.
And then we'll report pay-as-you-go withholding to the ATO. That's part of your BAS. FBT installments are part of your BAS. So all these compliance elements get taken up in the activity statement. And yeah, then we send it to you for signing, or someone sends it to you for signing, you sign it, you pay it.
Yeah,
as part of AP.
Like we've been doing this for about 10 years, but like there's still people that don't do it this way. Like, so like when you're sending your numbers to your accountant, the best thing about having, you know, Xero as your software, like as we started this whole thing with, is like you've got an online system that the accountant should log in and change your numbers. They're
live numbers.
Yeah, they're live numbers. When we sort of grew up and we were, you know, training as graduates, the accountant used to have their set of numbers and you'd have your set of numbers. And that's basically because like the program used to be saved on your computer and then he'd have his or her like saved on her computer or whatever. And then the two numbers would never line up. And then at the end of the year, they give you a journal. Some people are still doing it that way when they come in, and it's a mess, man. Because like they've actually lodged the right numbers for tax and compliance. But then when we go into the Xero ledger, it's like, it's not even the accounts that are set up, which is like ridiculous.
The classic one that I've seen recently is a company that has just spreadsheets of revenue and expenses.
Go into that? Yeah.
So like as a company, like you really have to keep track of your assets and liabilities because you can't just spend the money, you know? Like,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we just they just send you a spreadsheet. We have like income and expenses for the year. And it's like, well, where's the bank statements? Where's the...
This is the company.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
They're lining up for an audit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And like you can't run a company like that. Like sole trader.
No, of course
different.
you can do it because it's you. Like,
it's you. But company, like you just can't do that.
No.
So you got to have these processes in place.
Why? Yeah, because you got to put the balance sheet into the tax return. Like you need to report.
Yeah, but also like
well.
Correct. Yeah, and if they audit that tax return, like
it's gone, mate.
There'll be some penalties.
I hope they got audit insurance.
It's true. That's a good product.
Yeah, for them it is. Like if you're not using a ledger, you're getting audited.
Yeah, well, I think they're becoming quite aggressive, aren't they? So it probably will happen
at the moment. Yeah.
So I think that's one of the things. Like, if you're gonna run a company, like don't just run on spreadsheets. Like it's not acceptable.
No. Straight away, yeah. You go to jail.
Probably not, but you will get plenty of penalties. Maybe. It's easy to fix, but you do need to look at it.
Yeah, like if you're not running it through a ledger, by the time you get audited, you're gonna have to put it into a ledger anyways. So you may as well just do it to start with, just in case. Yeah.
Correct. All right, thanks, mate.
Thank you.
Everyone enjoy their day. See you, mate.
See ya.